of Earth, then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean. I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested.
Come again?
What's going on, you guys? We have Kyle Kulinski slamming Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson is betraying all of America for a slice of the billionaire pie. Let's get into it.
Johnson is a MAGA pundit, and he was in a little hot water recently because apparently his YouTube channel was growing at like triple the rate of anybody else on YouTube in politics, but come to find out that at the same time his views were going down. Now, as somebody who's in YouTube, I can tell you without any doubt whatsoever, that's bullshit. That means there's some inauthentic behavior happening there. Either he's buying bots or there's some weird shit going on where, you know, he's making it look like, oh, my channel's growing at a record pace. But that doesn't happen. If your views are staying the same or going down, your subs are not going to hit, you know, record growth where you're doubling or tripling the closest political person to you. That doesn't happen. So clearly there was some fuckery going on there, and nobody should be surprised because remember, Benny Johnson is the guy who worked with Tenet Media, that company run by Lauren Chen, and they were taking money directly from the Russian government. And so Benny was getting paid through Tenet Media by the Russian government, and he was part of that scandal, along with Tim Pool, along with Dave Rubin, along with Matt Christensen, I believe, and some others. So this is who this guy is. Now, he's also just fucking boring. Can we just call it what it is? He's fucking boring. He's like, it's so vanilla. It's so like, just like standard MAGA garbage, just riding Trump's dick on a daily basis. And remember, this guy's also, funny enough, a closet case. I remember when he tweeted he tweeted this thing that was like, can you believe the ads on this website? And the ad was like some gay singles cruise thing. And people had to reply to him and be like, dude, those are targeted ads. Meaning exactly what you think it means. So here he is. He's talking about Trump taking over D.C., federalizing D.C., sending in all the federal law enforcement and shit. And, of course, he's happy as hell over it because he's a total hack and he believes in nothing. And here's what he ends up saying.
President Trump is doing God's work by refederalizing D.C. By the way, D.C. was set up as a federal city. It's in the Constitution. It's how our founding fathers intended it. These laws are still fully enforceable. They've never been rescinded or amended. President Trump and the executive, through the House of Representatives, controls Washington, D.C. President Trump controls budgets. House of Representatives and Speaker of the House is technically and historically the lead of D.C. That still remains on the books. What happened to D.C., especially during the civil rights period, was that protesters that were bussed up here stayed here. The city was burned to the ground. This happened during massive riots throughout the 60s and 70s. Mass swaths of the city were torched and were never really rebuilt. And so what President Trump is doing is reasserting control of not only our nation's capital, but truly the seat of Western civilization. There's one final little note here that kind of blends outside of the personal, which is that Washington, D.C. is a representation of the work of your forefathers and mine. It is, by every measure, a very beautiful city architecturally. It is a sacred city. It is a sovereign place with the monuments to great men and women who've sacrificed far more than you or I could ever dream for this country. It must be preserved because the peoples of Earth come here by the millions per year in order to witness the success or failures of our systems. And if you are a proud patriot and you love this country and you wish for it to be reflected honorably to the peoples of Earth, then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean. I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested.
Come again?
You see what Benny Johnson just said right there? We cannot let people like this get away with it. I mean, look, Kyle Kulinski's out here calling them out. We all need to come together and call people like this out.
Come again, one more time.
Patriot, and you love this country, and you wish for it to be reflected honorably to the peoples of Earth, then Washington, D.C. must be swept clean.
Swept clean?
I believe entire neighborhoods probably need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed.
Entire neighborhoods need to be emptied and need to be bulldozed. Gee, I wonder who he's talking about when he says, is he talking about the rich white neighborhoods? Do they need to be emptied? Do they need to be bulldozed? Is that what you're talking about? The places with mansions, 6,000 square foot homes, 4,000 square foot homes. Is that what you're talking about? It's not hard to figure out what he means. Emptied and bulldozed. He, of course, is talking about the black areas. He's, of course, talking about the low-income areas. Guys, we've said it before, we'll say it again. You ever heard of the imperial boomerang? That's what we're witnessing here. The imperial boomerang is this notion that whatever the empire does abroad to innocent people, it will eventually come back at home. And that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. Exactly in how it's happening in Gaza. Now you got MAGA assholes who are going, let's empty out these neighborhoods and let's bulldoze everything. That's like what's happening in the West Bank, actually, is a better example. Gaza, it's an outright genocide and an ethnic cleansing. But the West Bank is like mission creep. You have people forcibly kick somebody out of the home, take over the home. This is like, so you want to treat D.C. like the West Bank, is what you're telling me. You want to treat D.C. like the West Bank and kick out all the black people, right? Oh, my God. That's what he wants? That's what he wants. He's not even hiding it. This is ethnic cleansing. He's calling for ethnic cleansing.
Need to be emptied, need to be bulldozed. I believe that there are places that are so crime-ridden and so infested that you just need to, like, you're just going to have to crack down.
Violent crime is down like 30%. It's literally at a historic low right now. Historic low. In fact, Trump was bragging in May about how D.C. crime is at a historic low. Now all of a sudden, oh, it's the worst thing ever. Why? Because he wants to do power for the sake of power, control for the sake of control, fascist takeover for the sake of a fascist takeover.
You're going to have to do the job, and you're going to have to get the crime out of Washington. That's my personal experience. Don't believe the bullshit that you hear online from some reporters. Oh, crime's down in D.C. Well,
that's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. And he knows that's a fact. He's lying because that's what he does. He's a paid liar.
And Kyle Kulinski said it best right here. I mean, look, the crime is down in D.C. That is a fact. The people of D.C. right now are saying, hey, look, we don't want this. 70% of D.C. residents are saying we do not need any of this to happen. We are afraid of what's to come. We have 20 other states now at this point that are going to get the same treatment. This is not a drill. We need to rally against the movement, the MAGA movement.
My infant nearly died.
I don't believe you.
In a drug fire.
I definitely don't believe you.
After mass shootings.
I definitely. My infant nearly died in a drug fire. After mass shootings. In a crack house. Where 17 gang members showed up with machine guns. And they shot an RPG at our face. Like, what are you doing, bro? What is this? Bro. Really? Oh my God. This is so embarrassing. He's got this whole spiel. Look, I'm in Washington, D.C. half the time. It's fine. Like, I don't know. Look, I'm from New York. I know it. New York, certainly when I was growing up, there was definitely more crime at that time, right? You guys know in the 90s, crime was up across the board in the 90s. And there's speculation that's tied to the leaded gasoline that was in the atmosphere, which interesting enough, right? But D.C. is not bad, right? I mean, when I was in LA like 5 years ago or whatever, you know, there were more homeless people in LA. I think crime was higher there. In DC, like, it's really not that bad. This is bullshit.
So no.
And look, Kyle Kulinski is completely wiping Benny Johnson off of all of his lies, straight up saying that, you know, look, my child is out here having to wear a bulletproof vest. Like, where are we talking about, Benny Johnson, Mr. Suit and Tie? Like, what are we talking about right here? And even if that is the case, how about we blame the president, who is cutting funding to all of these different programs to help the juvenile, like the ones that are the more troubled youth. He's cutting the amount of money that's going to these programs. What more? Who else could we blame? Don't find victims. Don't find the ones that aren't given a good chance. Don't blame the ones in the foster homes that were never taught, you know, what's right from wrong. We have to point blame at the person who's not looking out for them in the first place, given that he is appointed leader of this entire country, which has all of us here. Look, let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.